everyone. I am Amita from Nourish Doc, a platform for natural and holistic therapies. We are going to be talking about hormone balance using Chinese medicine. Joining me is Chris Axelrad. He is a licensed acupuncturist with specialty in hormonal balance, mind, body, and reproductive wellness using acupuncture, therapeutic medicine, mind body coaching, and Chinese herbs. So he should be joining me in 1 second. Hopefully he can figure this out, how to join. And dear, if you have any questions, you're welcome to put it in the chat window, and then we will take it up. So let's see. He should be joining me in 1 second, and then we will talk about what are the functional medicine approach that he uses to deal with the hormonal balance issues. When the clients come. Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm so happy to see you. We finally figured this out, the technicalities of Instagram.
Yeah, I'm not huge on Instagram. I don't really use it, so I didn't really even know what to do, but I figured it out.
Okay, great. Something new that you learned. So to all our viewers, we are talking about functional medicine for hormonal balance, and we have our guest, Chris Axelrad. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself. I did a little intro about you, that you're a licensed acupuncturist. You are president of the American Board of Oriental Reproductive Medicine, and maybe something else you can tell us, and then we can go into the questions.
Sure. Well, so first of all, I'm a past president. I'm no longer president. I know the current president
Sorry.
did not want. That's okay. No, I just want to make that clear. But yeah, and I started out. I come from a family of MDs, and my dad was a urologist, a well-respected urologist here in Houston, and but I grew up. I never really was interested in conventional medicine, so I didn't. Back when I was a kid, I didn't know natural medicine even existed. Until I went to college. And I was studying music in college, and a lot of the people in the music program are very open-minded, and so I was introduced to yoga. I was introduced to all kinds of things that I'd never seen and never heard of before growing up in this very sheltered world in Houston, Texas, a very conventional family. So that really opened my mind and I really knew very early on that was where my passion was. It just took me a while to kind of get with it. So when I was 29 is when I finally went to school to formally study traditional Chinese medicine, finished in 2003, opened my practice about 3 or 4 months later in 2004. And now we have 4 locations, and we specialize in hormonal issues and fertility, and we have 2 other acupuncturists here with me. Mm-hmm. We integrate not just the acupuncture, but we do a lot of nutrition, we do a lot of supplements, we do a lot, not so much of the herbs anymore, but we do the herbs, but a lot of supplements and a lot of mind-body stuff because of what I've really learned over many years of postgraduate study and studying functional medicine, and really also did a very detailed study in this system called Qigong, which is a Chinese form of yoga, but it's much more internal, much more meditative.
Yeah.
And I learned very really early in my practice that hormones is where it's at. I mean, hormones control everything in the body. So
yeah.
if you can get your hormones, mm-hmm. you can pretty much, you have a lot of power over your life and over your mood and over your energy levels and everything else. So, and it's been a great journey. I have a blast doing it and helping people and watching people just kind of emerge and start to be happier people and healthier people. And of course, with my fertility patients, I mean, I've had at least at this point probably 24 to 2,500 babies. Yeah.
Just the
I've been busy.
Patients, so many people have had babies with your help. That's what, right?
Yeah, 2004 was when I started. So, wow. I mean, that's 15, 16 years. So a lot of time for a lot of babies.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. No, that's amazing. So let's just start with the basics of why do our hormones go out of balance? And then we'll go into the 5-element functional medicine protocol that you use. So we'll go on that after we understand why do our hormones go out of balance, and then what are the building blocks to get them in balance, right?
Right. Well, hormones go out of balance for many, many reasons. I mean, it's not just one thing, but I would say the most common thing that I see that start to shift the hormones out of balance is, first thing is diet. I mean, let's face it. You know, the diet that we eat in the modern and industrialized world. I'm not saying that before diets were amazing, because they probably weren't. I mean, people were starving a lot of the time, right? But now we have so much food, and one of the things I always say is, you know, we have a lot of food, so we eat a lot of food. It's there, so we eat it. So we all overeat mostly, and most of us are eating at the wrong times of day based on natural metabolic rhythm. Most of us are eating, concentrating on certain foods and leaving out other foods, and really concentrating on the wrong foods. So, and it's not really the food that causes the problem. It's the hormones that our body secretes.
I see.
In response to the food. So the body actually disrupts itself. And the biggest hormonal disruptor as far as food goes is insulin.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, insulin, people think, oh, I need to stop, you know, sugar's bad for me. No, sugar in and of itself is just sugar. It's the insulin that your body secretes to responding to the sugar that is this massive amount of insulin that our bodies are simply not, you know, biologically speaking, have never seen up until the last 100 years or so, 100, 200 years.
So much is being secreted because they're eating too much sugar and everything. It's not just sugar, but any food or anything you take, there's an added sugar that's added to everything, right? And that's what you're referring to.
Well, and also there's a lot of refined carbohydrates in a lot of foods, like grains, like flour and refined grains that really, again, it's adulterated food. I mean, if you take wheat and you pick wheat and you look at it, it looks, you know, I mean, first of all, you can't eat wheat unless you process it. It's not, it's got a lot of toxins in the hulls and everything. You have to process it, mill it, then you can eat it. See, to me, that's always a bad sign. If you have to take something that nature made and you have to severely process it in order to make it consumable, that's probably not something we should be eating a lot of, right? And so that's the number one reason that hormones get out of balance is diet. And that included in that is dehydration. One of the things that I teach my patients is, soft drinks, tea, milk, flavored drinks, even things that we think are good for us, like smoothies, kombucha, things like that. They don't count when you're talking about hydration. The only thing that counts is water, okay? When you just drink plain water, and that's not sparkling water, that's not flavored water, it's just straight water. Our bodies need water. Is the most clear and natural substance that we can consume, that nature gives us. It's the simplest substance that we can eat or drink. And when we keep it in that simple form, our body's able to use it, and it doesn't have to do any extra work. So, a lot of people are dehydrated chronically. They don't realize it. And then what I see with a lot of my patients is I have this hydration plan that I give them, which, people can go to I do have an online free academy where you can get a lot of the same stuff that we give our patients. You can download this hydration plan, and basically you start doing that plan and you're going to be thirsty. What happens is actually people start drinking the water, and then all of a sudden they're thirsty and they just want more and more and more, because the body has been kind of blocking the thirst reflex, knowing that we're not drinking enough. But as soon as we start getting water, the body's like, hey, give me more, like, let's load up on it. So that's a huge factor. The second factor is emotions. Emotions are very, very hormonally active things. When we think and we're just kind of thinking about things in a very logical and sort of rational way, there's not a lot of feeling behind that. There's really not a lot of hormones that are going to start to circulate. But as soon as we start having feelings, and
Emotion.
it doesn't matter what, good
Yeah.
feelings, bad feelings, anger, fear, worry, or even, excitement and laughing and whatever, all of those feelings are actually internal hormonal triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And most of us have what I call a baseline emotional state that we sort of, when we're not, doing something, we're not around people, watching TV or whatever it is, we kind of have our sort of default emotional state. Some people's default or baseline emotional state is a little sad. Other people, it's more, they tend to worry. Other people, they're more frustrated, angry. Other people, they're more afraid, fearful, nervous. All those baseline emotional states carry with them a baseline hormonal state.
Hormonal state. So it's a proportion of the food and the emotions. Two things.
Yeah.
These two things.
So the baseline hormonal state, like for instance, let's say there's a very important hormone that everybody knows about, actually, called cortisol. Everybody knows about cortisol. Wellness.
Hormone. Yeah.
Cortisol is, well, and what's funny is everyone calls it a stress hormone, but it's actually not. Cortisol is a very essential hormone for a lot of different bodily functions. But it just so happens that during stress, we secrete a lot of cortisol because one of the things cortisol does for us is it releases stored energy from our body. Okay. And so when we're a little worried, when we're kind of scared about something, that emotion is a signal to the body that says, hey, there's something Chris is scared, Chris is worried. Let's secrete some extra cortisol because he's going to need a little more energy to either A, think about something, or B, run, or C, fight, or whatever. And so our body goes along with that. But what will happen is over many, many months and even years of that slightly elevated cortisol, you start to see changes in all the other hormonal systems. You even start to see changes in the body. So that's the second one. And the third one is just poor daily habits. Like, for instance, not getting enough sleep. Yeah. That's one of the most important. Yeah. That's also very common hormonal disruptor or hormonal depleter is people not getting enough rest. And again, over many years, like I meet people all the time who say, well, I sleep 6 hours. That's enough. I feel fine. It's like, well, you feel fine because right now your body has the strength to adapt to that. But that's not. You're asking your body. Yeah, you're making your body work really, really hard. A lot harder than it would normally, and it does over time it depletes you. You actually start to age faster. Which when you tell people by doing that you're going to age faster, that gets their attention.
That's the attention grabber. Nobody wants to age faster.
Nobody wants to age faster.
Yeah.
And I would say one of the other lifestyle things that really messes up hormones is the times of day that we eat. If we're eating, I'm going to say this, and I'm just going to be very blunt about this. There's this huge movement around intermittent fasting right now, right? You see,
everyone's
it's kind of
talking about intermittent fasting.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You actually, if you're eating properly according to your body's metabolic rhythm, and I have a diet. It's actually on my academy. It's called the Sun Cycle Diet. Okay. I've used it for over a decade in clinic, and the principles are really founded in this concept that the sun, our metabolism is inextricably linked to the sun cycle, to the daily sun cycle. Yeah. No matter what we try to do to the opposite, well, if we're going against that, again, what we're doing is we're making our body work really hard to adapt, as opposed to just going along with nature. And when we're not going along with nature, we're always expending extra energy. It's like when we're on a river on a boat. If you're gonna paddle against the current, you're gonna have to work a lot harder. Versus if you just turn around and go with the flow, you can just push a little bit, and then you push a little, and it's very, very easy. So intermittent fast. Here's when you're supposed to be intermittent fasting. Okay. When you're sleeping.
Oh, it's very simple. It's very
when
simple.
You're sleeping.
It's not complicated, right?
No, it's not. Yeah, but most people are told, hey, don't eat breakfast
Yeah.
and then wait until like 1 or 2 and then eat. That is the worst. Again, talking about doing something that pushes your body
Yeah.
to work really hard to adapt. That is, again, now it might be, the thing about it is it makes people feel like, hey, I'm doing something, because when you're sleeping, you're not aware that you're fasting. But the thing is, if you flip this around, and
Yeah.
anybody listening here, this is a little tip,
Yeah.
is if you eat a small dinner and you eat it early, so let's say it's 6:37, and you, instead of having 2 pieces of chicken and a bunch of rice and a big pile of veggies, you just have a small little piece of chicken and a one little small serving of veggies and no starches or anything like that. And then
Okay.
go to bed early, go to bed at like 10. 10 is actually kind of late for
Okay.
our body's circadian rhythm. 10 p.m. is
Mm-hmm.
late,
Yeah.
but most people want to stay up and do something or watch their Netflix or whatever. So it's like 10 is a good compromise. So go to bed at 10.
Mm-hmm.
If you and don't snack, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like eat at 7, eat at 6, eat that small meal. Don't snack. If you get hungry, just have a few sips of water or drink some water.
Mm-hmm.
Go to bed at 10. But when you wake up, you're going to be really hungry, right? Because you basically have not eaten for 12 hours.
That's
And
right. That's right.
guess what? Eat breakfast. Yeah. Metabolically, our bodies need food in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the problem is, since most people are eating these late dinners,
Yeah.
these big late dinners,
And then they're
which is,
skipping the breakfast in the morning, right?
they're skipping breakfast. Why? Because they have all this unmetabolized food in their body.
Mm-hmm.
So they think they're like, I mean, and again, you're awesome. Everybody's awesome. Okay, first of all, but we pat ourselves on the back and we go, oh, look, I don't have to eat until 2 o'clock and I'm awesome. But it's like, well, the reason is because you ate this huge dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you don't
And
feel
you're
like eating
still digesting it, basically. So congratulations, But anyway, so those are the 3 main
it. Okay.
hormone
Okay.
blockers. Yeah.
So let's move on. You talk about the 5-element functional medicine. I've seen your book, your blog. I mean, so many different places. And you teach other professionals as well on that.
That's correct.
Let's talk about the building blocks. Like for a layman, like if people, this is a layman. People are trying to understand, basic things. What is the process? How can we start getting in balance? I mean, you talked about the circadian rhythm, but maybe you talk about the 5 elements of the functional medicine, and then we can move on to the next one. Like, what are the 5 elements that you're talking about? Is it the same thing that we just talked about, the sleep, diet, or is something else?
Well, so when we talk about 5-element functional medicine, what we're really talking about is there's a system of Chinese medicine.
Okay.
There's a system where there's 5 elements, right? And
Yeah.
I know in Ayurveda there's 4 elements, right, or something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I studied a lot of that 5-element system
Okay.
previously, and then I studied, functional biomedicine, biological conventional functional medicine very in depth.
Okay.
What I started to realize was in clinic that those 2 concepts were starting to fuse together in my mind through my practice. And essentially what's happened now is that I've kind of devised this way of teaching, this way of thinking. So essentially, though, this idea of the 5 elements, it's pretty much like this. Nature is intelligent. Nature thinks. Nature has a certain process and sequence that it does things in that is very set. It's like a law, right? Because if you think about the seasons or the moon cycle or the year, it's the same all the time, right?
Yeah.
We never have winter, fall, summer, spring. It never goes that way. It's always the sequence, right? So this 5-element model is a very powerful metaphor for nature's intention, the way nature thinks, the way nature balances itself, the way nature supports itself, the way nature helps sustain itself. So essentially, think what I've done is taken the functional medicine pieces and arranged them in the five element system, and it's very easy to start to see all of these relationships and how everything is related. I'll give you an example.
Mm-hmm.
The water element is associated with our adrenal glands. Okay, the adrenal glands, and water is an element or is a substance that contains a lot of potential energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's nature's energy potential stored in water. Mm-hmm. So our adrenal glands are, and our central nervous system connected to the adrenal glands is really where we manage all of our energy. It's how our body sort of says, hey, we need more energy, or now we can store energy. Mm-hmm. And now we access the energy, we store the energy. And then we have the earth element, which is about how our body takes energy in from the outside, and very specifically glucose. So when we talk about insulin, we're talking about the earth sphere, and we're talking about cortisol, we're talking about the water sphere. Mm-hmm. And the way that those two things interact is very, very powerful. And when you start to understand how those things are all interacting and all these other, you can get really accurate. You start to see a very accurate picture of the root cause of something that's happening.
The root cause of the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And also, each of us has a constitution, so each of us is very naturally has a dominant area that we've always struggled with. You know, like from day one, some people have tummy issues. Other people from day one have weight issues. Other people from day one have emotional issues. Other people have, you know, that low energy or getting sick a lot or immune issues. And so everybody's got their sort of themes. Yeah. And the system really takes that into account, as well as then we can start to see how things developed over time.
Okay.
And so we can really see how to go back and sort of, you know, reverse all of that stuff. And we use supplements mostly to do it. Yeah. Also, there's I've probably got about 12 to 14 different guided visualizations that are part of the system as well.
Oh, for the mind body, the guided visuals? Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And it's I mean, it's been amazingly effective with my patients. And, you know, you never know until you try to teach someone something, but I've been teaching it to other people, and the clinical results they're getting are pretty awesome too. So I'm excited about it. I just want to say real quick before we go on, I think my battery might die.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How much do you have left?
2%.
Okay, so we can wrap up this session and you know, we can schedule some other time, because I don't want you just going poof and then I'm the only one holding the bag here. But so we could schedule another session with Chris, because this is a fascinating topic that you're educating all of us. I think a lot of us can benefit a lot. If you're back, so I'll wrap up this session right now, Chris, and what we'll do is.
Wait, you know what? Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Wait. I just saw this. Hang on.
Okay, if you have something, then we'll continue. Otherwise, I don't want to continue with.
No. I'm gonna plug it in right now.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, Chris? Well, we will wait for a second for Chris to come back. If he's not able to come back, then what we'll do is we'll wrap up this session right now, and we will schedule another session, because I think he's okay. He's coming right back. So I'm just going to wait for a second. But I just want to say, Chris is one of the top acupuncturists in the country. And then, you know, in America, and then he has been on the board of American Reproductive Oriental Medicine, and he has, you know, healed like thousands and thousands of people in the last 15 years that he's been working on. So I think we can learn a lot from him, and learn how to balance our hormones, because balancing our hormones, all of us, like Chris was talking about, you know, the 5 elements, the same concept is in acupuncture, the same concept is in Ayurveda. You know, we have our fire, water, earth, ether, air, and you know, these are the 5 elements, and that and you know, that all of us can have different type of hormone balance some people are more emotional, some people, you know, have problems in putting on weight, some people have other issues. So that's what Chris is trying to talk to us about. How can we balance our hormones, and how each hormone you know, manages each of our emotion or each of our different things. So I'm waiting for him to get back. If not, then I'm going to wrap up this session right now, and we will schedule another session on the hormonal balance. If someone has any question, let me know, and we'll be able to take care of that. Okay, so thank you so much for being with us, and we will be doing another session on the same topic on hormonal balance pretty soon, and let us know how you're doing, the feedback, and no problem. So thank you so much for being with us.